It is time, once again, to lock your doors, shut your windows, strap yourself into your favorite comfy chair, and tune out and tune into The Naked Zombie.
Yes, it is time once again to get naked with the zombie. You are listening to the best in Australian paranormal pop culture race show, The Naked Zombie, and tonight...
You got to find an easier name.
I think I said tonight.
Yeah.
Hello, Wadsy. How are you?
Very good. See yourself.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good, guys. And we are doing the naked debate, which is proving to be quite popular because the amount of responses we've all been getting from the listeners regarding the three of us actually discussing these facts about the paranormal and different things, and the questions we're getting asked has just been amazing.
Been some great questions come through.
Oh, we have. Now, we're going to do it the old-fashioned now because our internet is down at the moment.
We got pen and paper.
We got pen and paper, and we're using our smartphones to access the internet and read the questions out tonight. But anyway, we will continue. Now, guys, we were having a discussion during the week about...
Who was? I wasn't.
You, yes. Oh, okay. Sorry. Me and Liam were discussing it during the week.
Conspiracy.
And we're going to tell Aaron when he'll probably hear this and go... Andrew will hear this and go, oh, are we? We have decided to bring investigations to The Naked Zombie. And I think it's important because me and Liam are old investigators from way back, and we've been, we've both investigated for a long time,
Yep.
Both of us.
Old being the operative word there.
Old, yeah, good one. We've started already. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not dead yet.
Give another 5 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to actually look at historical locations and we're going to investigate them. But we're going to investigate them in such a way where we're going to be bringing them to the radio show. So what we experience for the night, we're going to bring it to you guys in recorded format. And then we're going to discuss certain aspects of the investigation, what we found and the history of the place and stuff like that.
Hopefully it's just on a whole lot of girly screams.
Yeah, coming from you, Wadsy, I'm sure there'll be a whole lot of girly screams. Liam, you want to add some more to that, mate?
I just think it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity to actually take everybody who listens along with us and give them a bit of an experience on what it's like going out and doing some field work.
Doing the field work. But see, what we're going to do a little differently in such a way. We're not going to be taking a heap of equipment with us. We are just going to be sticking to the bare basics. I mean, literally the bare basics, because what we want to put across is our experiences and what we find.
Yep.
And instead of having like a video camera chasing us around and stuff, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to have, we're going to record everything as you would in a radio show. Duh. So I'm just looking at what's going to do that.
I'm thinking,
I don't get it.
Yeah. We're using pen and paper. How are we going to record stuff? But I can't write that fast. Slow down.
You can't think that fast either. We started already. It's not even Sunday night. And we're going to do that. We're going to bring that information through to people that way. I think is a great opportunity. So, but what we're going to do is we're not going to do it in such a way where, look, like I said, there's a lot of fantastic groups out there and who love doing the mum and pop side of investigations who call on for help. We're not going to do that straight off the bat. I'm going to be honest about this because what we'll be doing is sharing our experiences at locations that people have told us about with the historical side of it, the history side of it, especially. I just double repeated myself on that.
Yes.
No, I did, that's all right. Because Liam is the historian guru when it comes to these things.
Yes.
So a lot of the stuff, this information will come through him and also from people he knows. Wadsy, because Wadsy is very much a skeptic in a lot of sense, but Wadsy is also hasn't had much.
Skeptic.
No, hopeless skeptic.
No, open.
An open skeptic, and that's horrible noises coming from somewhere. But that's what we'll be looking at.
It's your internet.
Here's my internet. And we've got Andrew, of course, who is. He's been doing it for a couple of years. He's fairly new on it, but he gives a different generation view on it as well. So I think the four of us going out, and there may be at times only two of us going out doing it, taking that information and bringing it across. So we're going to record everything on the night, give you our feedback on what happened, and actually put it into a show. So we're going to do that. So Liam, you want to add to that if anyone knows of any places?
If anyone knows of any places, sort of, I guess, around the Brisbane area that you think would be perfect for an investigation and has a bit of history to it, yeah, by all means get in touch.
You can contact Liam, myself, or Wadsy, and also young Aaron, who's very keen to get the information through to us as well. And I think that'll be a good start to bring that information out to people, and then they can...
Especially for people that can't get out there.
Yeah.
And want to find out what's out there.
Basically, we want to bring you along.
We want to eyes, or
Well, anyone who's curious at all and wants to know what actually is involved.
What the location was like, and I think in a lot of aspects it'll be good too, because it'll be audible, and it'll be... Then people will make up their own mind. We're not going to try and disprove or prove anything, but we're just going to give what happens to us.
Yep.
Solely what happens to us. It's not going to be trying to say, oh yeah, this is definitely haunted or this isn't haunted. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's what happens to us on the night we do the investigation. And I think that's fair.
Yep. Sounds good.
You agree?
Agreed.
Certainly do.
Yeah, we'll give a big high five. Let's go big. Woo, yeah. Woo. We're all touching each other now. What's it? No, not the leg. That's not my leg.
No, it's too small to be your leg.
Oh, that's it. Oh, you're going down, literally. Anyway, tonight we are bringing you questions and calls, discussing the different topics regarding the paranormal on the 2-hour show of The Naked Debate, even though we had to wait for Wadsy, because he forgot.
Good things are worth waiting for.
And text messages saying, where are you? Why aren't you here? Liam's getting lonely. Anyway, so listen, I have one thing that I've always been fascinated. We're going to start the show off by this tonight. Now, there's a lot of people have probably heard about this scenario. Basically, what is the black-eyed kids? Now, I find this subject absolutely enthralling. Now, I don't know of many locations out there that actually have this side of things, where people within Australia have actually witnessed this sort of environment. And Liam, you were telling me you had examples of something happening to you, which I found quite interesting. It was back in the 90s regarding this sort of this phenomena. But I'm going to say this first off. After you told me, I'm thinking, why did I let you into my house? But please go right ahead.
Back in the 90s, quite a couple of people, probably about half a dozen different times, friends that I was hanging around with at the time said that the pupils of my eyes would dilate to the point where they were only completely black. There was no colour there at all, which really freaked them out at the time. It only happened about half a dozen times over the space of 2 or 3 years. But for those times that it did happen, I didn't feel any different, certainly to how I normally would. It really, really put the wind up everybody else who saw it at the time.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I know you can buy contacts out there that blacks out the pupil itself, but not the whole eye itself. I mean, that's pretty freaky stuff. I mean, if you don't know what the black-eyed kid phenomena is, I will just explain it to you now. Basically what it is, it's a child, probably between the ages of, I think, 11 and 15 now. They will come and knock at your door or knock at your window, or they knock on your car door, you're sitting in the car and they want a lift or they want to come inside. Now, the thing with these kids is they are out of time, out of place. The clothes are always that era, the decades older, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And their heads are usually, from all the reports that I've come across, the head's always down when they talk to you first. And they just appear out of nowhere. But what it also is the smell. They reckon they smell like rotten meat, like decaying smell, and it's quite pungent. But what gets people to start off with is when they do come across these children, is that when they do pull their heads up, so they want to come inside and use the phone, or they want to do this or do that, their eyes are jet black. There is no white. The whole eye is jet black. And people have an instant fear of dread, like pure evil or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of theories about the black-eyed children or black-eyed kids as such, where either they are of alien form, right? And they're trying to
Assimilate.
They could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. No one's... I've only ever heard of one being let in. Someone's actually let them into their house, but 99.9% all the other ones that I've heard about, the people are locking their doors shut and their window. So you imagine this. You're sitting home alone at night. You get a knock on your front door. Okay, what's this? You open up the door and there's a couple of kids standing there. And all they want to do is come in.
Yeah.
They're very quiet. and they say, please let me in. I want to use the phone. And you say, well, he's your parents. Or what's wrong? Is there a problem? Please let us in. And that's all they do. They don't give you full explanations, or they just keep repeating the same question. And what I've also heard is that the longer you delay them, the more aggressive they become in their tone of voice. It doesn't raise, but it gets more assertive.
And you've heard of this in Australia?
This is the thing. I've only heard of a couple of instances of these black-eyed children events actually happening in Australia.
Mm.
Happens big overseas. We know that because there's a lot of reports. There are some very good books out there on the black-eyed kids. But I'm curious to see if there's listeners out there who have experienced this phenomenon for themselves here in Australia. And I do know there is a couple, but people are very... Not everyone comes forth with their stories regarding this because of fear of being ridiculed, but you're not going to get ridiculed because this is what the paranormal is about, and this is what the discussion is about. Is the black-eyed phenomenon kids a demonic presence? Are they kids that are literally out of time, out of place? Or are they of alien nature? I mean, this is where it comes very, very interesting. Your guys' thoughts on this?
Is there any residue? I mean, I know people haven't said anything, but is there any residue left when they leave, or is there any evidence of them being there?
No, there's none.
Nothing.
See, what happens is once you threaten them, you call the police to go away, that they'll walk around your house and rattle windows and stuff like that to want to come in.
Yeah.
But they don't come in unless they're invited in, which is odd.
Yeah.
It's like vampire law. I mean, a vampire cannot step into your house unless you actually physically invite them in.
Mm.
It's the same sort of scenario. But when they've gone to see if they're there, within seconds they're gone. Literally, they vanished. Now, the only one recorded incident I read about was they did see one of them take off, but it was moving such a way that it wasn't physically possible. It was that quick for a kid to be moving that fast. And even then, all they saw was the top half. They didn't see the actual legs.
Mm.
So it's almost even moving into sort of Mothman.
Yeah, it's
kind
speed.
of arena.
Yeah, type thing. So this is a phenomenon that, I mean, nothing freaks me out more than dolls, because I just hate dolls. Dolls just the only thing that freaked me out. And probably Black-Eyed Kids is a strong, close one there, because this is an actual... We don't know what it is. And, have you heard stories about this?
I have, especially from the United States. There's been quite a number of recorded cases. And I think that is the strangest thing with them, is that they sort of, it's always put across that they sort of speak in monotone and they want to come in. But whilst the person that's experiencing it is, has this instant sense of dread, it's sort of coupled with this double-edged sword where it's almost hypnotic, and they almost feel like they have to have to submit, even though they're absolutely petrified at the time, which is sort of it's sort of that weird dual feeling. Yeah,
the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Well, you do or you don't type thing.
Yeah.
So the one that I did hear about where there was actually a couple of kids let this kid in, and he wanted a sandwich, and he just sat down and had a sandwich, made him a sandwich, but he didn't eat it, and they sort of left him in the kitchen. But when they went back to check on him, he was gone. But there was no way he could have left double-story house. They couldn't just jump out the window, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sandwich was left. There was nothing there. The kid was gone. They couldn't find hide nor hair of him. Now, whether this is an overactive imagination with some kids, I don't know. But the amount of reports out there, but they will come to you anywhere. You could be sitting in your car in a car park, and they'll be tapping at your window.
Yeah.
But it's the smell, it's the look of jet black in their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
There's
all seen Children of the Corn and all the rest of it. That sort of scenario where
they just appear and
bad mojo happens, and then off you go and you disappear.
Yeah.
But thing is, unless the recordings of ones have been let in, you don't know whether or not the person is dead. You don't, do you?
No.
You don't know whether or not... So they won't tell this. They can't tell their story. So that's why the ones you do hear about didn't let them in.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see if here in Australia and Australasia in general, across the Tasman and New Zealand, if there's anything like that that's been...
Be interesting, because it's freaky by the sounds of it.
Just
talking about it sort of...
It gives me the
makes
willies.
you feel, ugh.
And I remember there was one account that I read a while ago from a US Marine who had to stay on base I think it was like a public holiday or over a long weekend, and he didn't have any money, so decided to stay in and was visited by 2 children who with the black eyes.
Yeah.
And he said that even though he was a fairly seasoned Marine, the absolute sense of dread that he had, that he had to get out of the, sort of get away from the kids and lock them out at all costs. And you think, for a grown man who's probably seen a lot in his career to be that
Be freaked out by a
petrified.
couple of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. So it'd be interesting to see what people have to say about this, especially in Australia. But if you are a listener from overseas, and we do have a lot of listeners from overseas, if you've had an experience, we want to hear from you guys as well.
Yeah,
it's
drop
not
us a
just
line.
what we do,
Absolutely.
but we will read your stories out in the next thing. We want to hear your stories, and we are getting lots of feedback from people regarding they are starting to open up and share stuff with us, which I thank you so much to everyone who has written into us. And we're going to read those ours a bit later in the show. But speaking of black-eyed kids and just stuff that freaks the crap out of me, dolls.
Dolls.
Oh, seriously, dude, dolls.
Dolls.
That's the one true hate that I have. You can put me in a room, seal me off in a room, no doors, no windows, and all hell could be breaking loose, and I'd enjoy it. You put me in a bedroom and get me to sleep in a room full of dolls, forget about it. It just won't happen. They just freak the bejeebers out of me. Funny story, when I first came back to Australia from New Zealand, I stayed with my little sister Kylie. Now, Kylie's been on the show. And I stayed in her spare bedroom for 2 weeks. The first night I was there, I got my brother-in-law to remove because my sister collects dolls.
Yeah.
I got him to remove every single doll out of that room because they're all sitting up on a shelf staring at me. It was just like the most...
Some of the eyes are so realistic.
Well,
that
you know
you think
why?
they follow you, and
Yeah. But do you know why the doll's eyes close when you lay him down?
because they've got a weight on them.
No, that's not the reason why.
They
Yeah,
balance.
it is a balancing, but you know why they made them that way?
No.
Okay, I think it was back in the 1800s. Liam, you probably know about this. They reckon dolls can become possessed, like from spirits and stuff like this, but it's done through the doll's eyes.
Yep.
So if the eyes are open all the time, it's like a window. It's like
yeah.
mirrors and stuff like that. Where some people think mirrors are gateways to other dimensions, or they can be used to transfer. So it's like the Bloody Mary thing. You knock 3
Yep.
times and call out a name, sort of thing. That sort of thing happens.
Yep.
When the eyes close.
It
It
blocks the window.
stops that access, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, you've seen them on YouTube and that, and I've seen a couple of good ones where, nowadays with technology, dolls can be moved, they can be manipulated, they can be done, but I've seen certain things on YouTube that just make the hair on my neck stand up end because there's no physical way. Like this poor girl, she's holding this quite large porcelain doll. And she's talking about, look at my doll. So next to the head actually rotates and she drops it and bolts. The head actually spins around and looks at her like, what are you doing? Type thing. There's also Robert the Haunted Doll. You would have heard of Robert
Yep.
the Haunted Doll. Robert, okay, quick scenario on Robert the Haunted Doll. Unless you want to do it, Liam.
No, you do. I've got it. I'll follow it up with a better, really, really good story that I know from a couple of years ago. As
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just explain what Robert the Haunted Doll is. You can Google this on YouTube and stuff like that. Now, Robert the Haunted Doll this is quite a large doll, but it's a
Is
cloth
Robert
doll.
the doll or Robert the person?
No, it's a
Robert the
doll.
doll, okay.
Robert the Haunted Doll.
Yep.
Robert was given to this young bloke by his nanny, who was a Jamaican lady, as far as I'm aware. And of course, I think the story goes she was into witchcraft in
Yeah,
Jamaica.
there was
I believe.
Yeah.
quite a bit of sort of voodoo overtone.
Voodoo overtones and this thing, but it was given to Robert because he was quite a sickly child. Sorry, not given to Robert. Robert's given to the kid. He was quite a sickly child, and this doll was given him to keep him company. Now, this kid had this doll to the day he died. He even when he got married, he had a separate room set up for Robert. He would talk to it. It was his best friend.
Yep.
There are stories where kids would be riding their bikes. In the US, they've got the houses sitting up with the round windows up the top of
Yes,
the attic
yep.
sort of thing. Kids would see this doll walking backwards and forwards across the window, moving across the window and stuff like this. And when this guy died, Robert basically got donated to different mobs and it got moved around quite a bit. But a lot of bad things that happen to people if they've messed around with Robert. There was one guy who was mucking around. You know, Robert the doll was in this like haunted exposition. What's the word?
Exhibition.
Exhibition. Yeah, get tongue-tied. And he was putting, and this one guy was making fun of and stuff like that, and he was killed in a motorbike accident straight afterwards. Like, he was basically killed leaving the premises. And these little events have happened, have been around this doll from it. But this bloke had this doll right up to the age till he died. It had its own room. He would talk to constantly, and I think his wife ended up leaving him
for it.
Because of the doll, because he would not part with this doll. Because he'd literally sit there for hours with this doll talking to it.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not, because of the voodoo overtones and stuff like this doll was actually animated to him in some way and had a close attachment to him because basically he grew up with it. Like I said, he had his own friggin' bedroom. Yeah, it's just, this creeps you out.
Yeah,
you know?
it does.
There's a lot of stories like that of haunted, the Island of Dolls. You heard of the island?
No, that one's a new one.
Oh no. Okay, we'll talk about that
Is
later.
it a TV series I hear coming on, is it? Or
No, it's not. It's not the one you're thinking about with the bikinis and the long
Straight to DVD.
Straight to DVD. Yeah.
It's not like Sharktopus. But we'll just talk about the haunted doll because you've got a really good story about this. So this is another thing I'm interested in listeners having to say is that their encounters, because I swear, Black and Blue, you will not get me near a doll in a room. You lock the door with me in a doll, and I will just freak the hell out because seriously,
now we know how to control him.
Well, eBay, perfect example. If you do a search on weird stuff, especially from the United States on eBay, the number of supposedly possessed dolls that go for sale on eBay is phenomenal.
Yeah, like they do, mate.
So literally, almost have their own section on eBay.
They sell
eBay
them rather than
United States.
smash them and destroy them.
Yep.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, my mother collected a lot of dolls too. I think my cousin's got them now. But the stories where these dolls take on a life of their own and they actually move. I remember this one story I was reading. It was actually sent to me years ago how this woman was given this doll and literally and she put it up on the thing, and she had this one doll for years. And next minute she started collecting dolls. Every day she'd get up, because his dolls were like in their own little playroom. Yeah. All the other dolls would be laying on the floor, and this one doll still would be sitting there.
Yeah.
So whether this doll's physically pushing these other dolls off or stuff like this, I mean, nothing worse than looking at one of these dolls and next to his eye just pops open and stuff like that. You know, I've got goosebumps thinking I've got these little pimply things happening because dolls, literally, that's the only thing I cannot handle investigation is dolls.
But then you've got dummies and figurines.
Action figures are not dolls. They're cool.
No, they've still got eyes that.
Yeah, well, look, I've got a Muppet sitting behind you, but that's lovely and cuddly and fluffy and awesome. But dolls, like porcelain dolls, anything like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of YouTube videos that look for haunted dolls.
So you're fine with Barbie?
I'm very fine with the Barbie. but yeah, I mean, it's Ken I'm worried
those
about.
porcelain dolls do.
Come on, you must admit,
look weird.
They do. But there's some of them done like so well.
So well. The eyes in them, some of the eyes are just so well that they're. Mine might have probably bloodshot because of too much alcohol, but you know.
Mate, my sister's got these dolls that like these babies.
They're
like
so clear. I think it's because they're so clear that
they're so lifelike.
The eyes are.
They freak me out. She's got these
You're drawn to the eyes.
Or virtually lifelike.
Yeah. And these things look real. These dolls are babies, and they look so friggin' real. They scare the crap out of me. And you just sit there, because the first night I said, no, I'm going to toughen up. Yeah, so the first night I got rid of them.
Second bag of cement.
Yeah.
No, I chewed on my bag of cement. The second night I thought, okay, I'm going to watch this thing. And so I put a couple of these dolls up on the back in his place. I literally stared at him all night waiting for something to happen because I'm like going. But the whole time I just felt sick. I'm going, this is not cool. Why am I doing this? It's just dolls. Yes, my phobia is dolls. There you go. I've said it and been eaten alive. Not a nice way. Well, there you go. So, okay, Robert the Haunted Doll. You had a story about Robert.
Another story. A couple of years ago, I was contacted by a woman in the United States who was pretty much beside herself. A few years ago, as part of the Sesame Street set of toys. A Elmo doll came out and it had a motion sensor in the front of it. And whenever you'd move in front of it, you'd put it in your kid's room. Whenever your kid would walk in, the Elmo doll would say a little phrase and have a chuckle.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely petrified of this doll because it was in her child's room and no one would be in the room, but at various parts of the day you would actually hear this doll going off. And she'd put it down to the fact that the motion sensor was actually picking something up that was living in her child's room.
Yeah.
And it had her absolutely petrified. She was beside herself.
Elmo wants to drink your soul.
That's it. So,
Elmo wants to drink your blood.
Elmo's not your friend. But that's the thing. Yeah, I have a classic example. I have see that guy up there. I'm pointing again.
It's great for radio.
It's great for radio. I've got this figure. It's an 18-inch figure out of Hellraiser, which is Cheddar, right? And his mouth is motion sensor, and he goes gang, 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 gang. That bloody thing up there goes off every now and then when there's no one. No one's in this part of the house, and I'll be downstairs. And you hear this, I'm going, okay, what are you picking up, sunshine? But, I mean, that's the thing. We use motion sensors in investigations at times.
that's it.
And this is what these are, motion-censored toys. There's like any sort of toy that their kids now have armed at their doorways to let intruder alert, and all this other stuff that comes through. So I would believe that. I would seriously believe that these toys, especially motion-censored toys, are picking up stuff that probably isn't meant to be there.
That's right. So, I mean, and it is no different. I mean, even though it's got a fuzzy coating on the outside, it's really no different to a lot of the equipment that we use in investigations. So,
yes, and seriously, if I woke up
bring you down if you're saying that you're using toys for
although,
investigations.
I don't know how seriously you can take it.
I'm just you imagine.
I'll turn up with my Elmo, and I'll turn up with my
client's house with an Elmo
dolls going through the windows to their soul.
Imagine, the boys from Ghost Adventures setting up their Elmos around the room.
Yeah, they're playing X in the spot here, and we're going to set up Elmo in this corner. Now we're going over this side and set up Elmo on this side. During the night, we're going to set up our video cameras and watch Elmo. Elmo wants to hurt you. See that? But that's the thing. They are motion censored stuff. Dolls freak the hell out of me. There's a lot of stuff out there regarding haunted dolls and haunted things. Look, I actually do have a few. Oh, you guys have seen this, haven't you? Look what I was sent.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that. My ghost in a jar. I get sent
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
Yes.
I personally think it's just green liquid with candle wax all over the top of the lid. But that's cool, but someone actually thought, well, to them, what's in this jar here?
Got a massive headache now.
Yeah, stirring him up. Could be something. But, I mean, that's the thing. Yes, having stuff like that around is quite odd. I remember years ago I had this, I picked up this friggin' rock. At a location years ago, and it was basically under what was called the hanging tree. And being an idiot, what the story goes is there's a certain tree in New Zealand that all these people from a psych ward escaped from. They all hung themselves. They were over consecutive nights. There was like 5 the first night, there was 3 the second night. And me being an absolute tool, I was just looking around, oh, cool, bit of a souvenir. I'll never do it again. Seriously, you put this rock down somewhere, you walk away 5 minutes later somewhere else. Yeah, it's that scenario where people have had that experience as well. So to this day, I don't know where that bloody thing is.
That's like...
Probably still in New Zealand, I hope. People bought the house.
If you take rocks from Ayers Rock,
yeah,
the same sort of thing. Have you get bad luck?
Bad luck.
Similar stories from Hawaii as well.
Hawaii, yes.
Yeah, Hawaii's. I actually had a friend who visited Hawaii and came back to Brisbane, and sure enough, because he didn't believe the stories, there's a lot of stories that people would take some of the lava,
rocks,
they will actually post it back to Hawaii because from the second they get home, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And he didn't believe it and decided he was going to test it and brought a rock home and guaranteed about a week later he put it in an envelope and posted it back to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, no manner of problems were happening in the house, just really bad mojo for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So I don't do it now, to be honest with you. When I was younger, I thought it was... And I'm sure a lot of people out there do it. They're at a certain location, they may take a souvenir with them or something like this, like a bit of a bit of a brick or something from, like something that's fallen off. I'm not saying
Yeah.
they're going hacking anything off, but you find debris lying
No,
around.
but it's at the location.
Yeah, location type thing. And I'm sure there's some interesting stuff out there like that as well. So cool subjects tonight regarding different aspects of trigger objects, which is the dolls and stuff. And dolls can be used as trigger objects, and especially on investigation.
Certainly make you go off.
Hey?
Certainly make you go off.
Oh, seriously, dude. You will not get me in a room of dolls. I will literally just walk in, walk straight out again.
Yeah.
You will not. You can call me big girly blouse. You can say whatever you want. I can climb down tunnels and get locked away in places, and I wouldn't even. Doesn't worry me.
Yeah.
Stick me into some girlie's bedroom with dolls staring at me, man. I did this one investigation, and actually we picked it up when I was originally doing Paranormal Mysteries, the TV series I had. We're doing this one location, and there's this doll in this one scene of the thing. The dolls are sitting on the Duchess. And I went, dolls, type thing. So sort of went in there. We talked to the homeowner and everything. And we actually see it sitting there in the background. Didn't take any notice of it. It wasn't until after we reviewed the footage and we're putting it together for the series, this doll was then upside down and behind something else. But that room had been sealed. I mean, closed off.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you... And then we went back in there and we didn't pick it up. It wasn't until after we got everything together, this doll moved. Now, when I asked her about that doll, she told me that doll got thrown away weeks beforehand because this doll was just doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
She actually physically got rid of it, and she didn't even pick it up when it was back. It wasn't until after we showed her the footage. She goes, I got rid of that thing. But the funny thing is, after the investigation was done, it was gone again.
It was gone again, yeah.
This is weird stuff. How do you like... You take that as, oh, yeah, okay, did she go in the night and turn it upside down and try and force? But I don't think so, because there was too many of us. We were all sort of watching different areas of this house and stuff like that. And she was generally quite miffed in seeing this friggin' doll sitting back in her daughter's room. She was literally quite horrified that this thing was back. And then this next thing, it's upside down later on during the night. It was like sitting on its head.
Yeah.
How do you explain that as an investigator? How do you put a rational explanation on that if you know that the room was closed off because it was a kid's room and we went in there to check it out, but that's it, we didn't actually investigate it. So we locked certain rooms up for the night because I didn't want people going in there. How do you explain stuff like that? And we're all in the same room, we're doing different sections, so we could see the door was closed through the whole night. How do you put a logical explanation on that?
Yeah, and especially having that confirmation that the doll hadn't been in the house for a number of weeks leading up to it
She
as well.
threw it.
Yeah.
She threw it away because it was just this doll would just do stuff.
Its twin. Its evil twin.
Mate, I think all dolls have got evil.
Dolly doppelganger.
Dolly doppelganger. That's right. You never know.
Yeah.
But the interesting point being is dolls and stuff like that are very interesting investigations, and I think people, in a lot of aspects, realise this, is there is certain objects that we have attachments to, or something might have attachment with, that could trigger this, whether it was like when I did that stupid thing by taking a souvenir from the hanging tree. Well, it was just, all it was a rock sitting under the tree. A quartz rock. I didn't think anything of it. I thought, oh, this is cool. It looked like a cool rock.
Yeah.
I'm not that I'm into rocks, but I was at location, it was under the tree. I thought, oh, this is awesome. This is a nice little thing. I'd never do it again. Seriously, the amount of weird crap that went on, and that rock would literally make its way around the house. I mean, you'll find it in certain areas and stuff like that. It was just weird. I mean, my whole family's played with the weirdness. I call it the weirdness.
Although you have a look, even people like John Zaffis in the United States, he's made a whole career out of setting up a haunted museum and
in his house.
He's had that for the last couple of years, a show called Haunted Collector, where he actually goes out to houses and tries to identify not so much a ghost in the house, but some kind of haunted object, or an object that's got something attached to it.
Yeah, certain
and he's
objects.
set up an entire museum out of objects like that. So,
but that's cool. I mean, there are a lot of places overseas that have like these sort of setups, have the haunted collectibles, or the haunted something, or the haunted this, haunted that. It's just really, really odd that people will bring something home, and it's like when you go to a second-hand shop or something like, and you pick up something like a bit of jewellery or something like that, and people had reports that I had one guy tell me about a chair. He bought this lazy. I think I mentioned it before, but his wife bought him this lazy boy chair for his birthday. Every time he go to sit in it, something would happen. It'll literally just Sorry, did you hear that too? But so just weird stuff would happen to him, and it wasn't until we worked it out that this chair was actually owned by this old guy. It was sold in a deceased estate. He died in the chair.
Died in the chair, yeah.
He died in the chair, and but as soon as the chair was moved out to the shed, everything stopped.
Yeah.
His chair was left alone. So little things like that, bits of jewellery, someone's, and this is what we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
I read a story, as we were going through the stories last week on Sunday, that children sometimes have an invisible friend.
Yeah.
That they're actually spirits coming back and attaching them to the children.
Well, that was one of the posts that we want to read out tonight, and I'll just pull that up now because the internet is down at the moment, I can't access anything. I'll just go into this because this is actually brilliant. Here we go. This is great radio. Me flipping through my smartphone going, where's that story you got sent to us? That you just talk amongst yourselves while work this out.
What are you doing for the weekend? Doing anything planned?
No, not yet.
No?
See
Okay,
how the
right.
weather is.
No
and-
worries.
I don't mean like that. Actually talk something paranormal.
Oh, sorry.
Good help is so hard to beat. Here we go. Where's it? No.
I was going to say, while you're looking for that one, I might just talking about haunted objects. I'll throw just an interesting one from a house that I used to live at quite a number of years ago. When it was a rental house, when we went to move in, sign the lease,
Yep.
the house was completely empty, apart from this big mirror that had been left propped up in one of the bedrooms against the wall. And probably the first 3 or 4 weeks that we were in the house, even though it had a good feeling in the house, really bizarre things used to happen. You'd wake up in the morning and the stovetop, all the hot plates would be turned on. The back
that's
door,
not good.
And you'd always panic because you'd think, geez, it could have burnt the house down
Yep.
during the night. But the big one was the back door always used to be unlocked and wide open every morning when you'd get up. So to try and stop that, I actually went and bought a big barrel bolt and got permission from the owner to
Put
put
it
a
on.
barrel bolt on the
Yep.
back door. Didn't stop it at all. Still, every second morning you'd wake up, the door would be unlocked and wide open.
Yep.
And I actually had a psychic friend at the time who said, I get this feeling that there's something to do with a mirror. Is there a mirror in the house? I said, strangely enough, there was this big mirror. It's the only thing that was left in the house when we moved in, propped up against the wall. And she said, well, get rid of the mirror and the problems will stop. And sure enough, the problems stopped the second we got rid of the mirror from the house. But the strangest thing is I moved out of that house and moved right the way to the other side of Brisbane. And about 3 or 4 months later, there'd been a vacant allotment only 100 metres up the road from the new house that I'd moved into, and I was driving past and I noticed this decal on a house that had been moved and put on this block. And I thought, that's really weird. It's a butterfly motif. It's just like the one that we had on the window, outside window, bedroom window at the other house, and realised it was actually the other house that I'd lived in a couple of months earlier had followed me. And had been plonked down in this vacant allotment 100 metres from my new house, probably 40 odd kilometres from where it had been when I'd lived in it. So
That's something you don't really want to wake up next
That's
morning.
just
There's a house sitting at the
freaky
end
or
of your bed.
fluky or weird or...
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
The chances of that happening is just so astronomical you couldn't calculate it.
No, you can't. I mean, and this is what we love about the field. There's so much weirdness out there. It's just brilliant.
I remember on the last show you said about predicting phone calls. You pick a phone up at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
It happened to me again.
Really?
Yep. I was thinking about this guy I used to work with about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And he rang me last night.
And as you picked up the phone,
No, I didn't pick it up. I was
you're
just
thinking about
I
him.
must call him and wonder
Yeah.
what he's doing. And he called last night.
So that's cool.
Mm.
I mean, they're not that you could be psychic Pete.
I could be just sending messages saying, call me, because I'm
Well,
a cheap
that-
ass and
no,
I don't want to
that's-
spend the money.
That's not silly. I mean, my son today was out and about. He's 14 years of age and he's just starting to go out and about with his mates
Yep.
at the skate park and that. And I'm trying to reach him on the phone. Right, he wouldn't pick up. Typical. Then he goes. Then he just rings me out of the blue. Says, "Oh, Dad, did I have to ring you?" Type thing.
Yeah.
Mate, I've been chasing you. Type thing. But he had no Yeah, it was just one of those things.
Yeah.
He thought before he checked his phone, he had to give me a call because I'm like, mate, ring me. Where are you? Out robbing places. Anyway, okay. Here's this question which we're going to talk about now. Alicia Black wrote into us tonight. Actually wrote on the Haunts of Brisbane website. She writes, I have a question about what would appear Okay, let me try that again because my phone just went dark. I have a question about what would appear to be one of the most common apparitions seen by most people, particularly after the recent loss of a loved one or when a person might be under a lot of stress, etc. The one seen at the foot of the edge of the bed, when you are just about to drift off or perhaps just about to wake up in the morning. People I know absolutely swear they saw recently departed loved ones sitting on the bed and strongly refute it was a dream. Sometimes even talking to it without fear. I remember Brad mentioning on last week's show that he had a similar experience once in NZ, and I was just wondering if this happened to other members of the panel, and what would your opinion on this? Is this a power of the spirit world making contact when we are at our most relaxed, or simply the power of the mind? That's quite an in-depth question.
It is. It's an excellent question.
Very, and thank you, Alice. Did I say Alicia? Sorry, Alice. Sorry, Alice. You have to excuse me, mate. Like I said, I'm trying to read this on a tiny iPhone, and so Alice Black wrote in and requested information. Wadsy, have you had an experience like that?
I have actually. When my father passed away.
That was me. I was sorry when your dad passed. Sorry, I'll shut up. Keep going.
Yeah. I had to be just sitting in the chair, and I definitely saw something go past.
Yep.
That gave me the sense that it was my father.
Right.
It was just a black mass.
Yep.
It went past and up the hallway, and it gave me the sense that it was my father. He lived in Tasmania, and I'm living up here, so.
How long after when your dad passed away, mate, did you actually experience it?
Within 12 months.
Within the 12-month period.
Yeah.
And that's quite common as well. It's usually within the first... I mean, my dad talked about the other night when Nana passed away. You know, he couldn't get to the funeral for certain reasons, which was, you know, things happened at the time, and he had that reassurance of she was brushing his hair, saying, It's okay, I understand you couldn't make it type thing. My experience was having that Maori gentleman standing at the edge of the bed and another yellow thing with square eyes. It just freaked the hell out of me. Certain things that I've experienced in my time have been very similar to that. Like me and Dad talked about in the show once. We saw my grandmother, his mother-in-law, walking past the rear window of our house because she used to go out there and have a cigarette every day.
On the veranda, yeah.
In the veranda.
A couple of times,
a couple of times. Yeah, that's all. We both saw her though.
Yeah.
You know, we saw her silhouette, her figure. She was a big woman. You couldn't half miss her. Yeah, she was a big lady.
Especially in Wadsy's experience too, and that always seems to be quite common. Is that even though it's nondescript, it's a mass. Did you feel that you sort of instantly know?
I went out looking for it.
Yeah, but you instantly know who it is. It's not that you suspect it could be. You know, a lot of people who have those experiences and see something just like a mass that's nondescript, even though there's nothing to that mass that would indicate it's a specific person, you just automatically know straight away.
Gut feeling.
Yeah.
So have you ever experienced, Liv? Like, have you ever been in a stage where you've been in bed or something? And this is what we're talking about tonight is you've been in bed, you're laying there, you're either drifting off asleep or you're half asleep or you're just waking up and you wake up and someone's there in the room sitting at the edge of your bed or standing at the edge of your bed.
I can't say that I have, and it's probably not a bad thing. So I probably myself if I did. But
if you're really lucky, Wadsy has your home address. So if you experience a mass stand,
too, by the way.
you experience a big mass stand at the edge of your bed, you know it's Wadsy going, "When I come rowing."
But I do think
that's a happy birthday joke.
But I do think there's there's a lot of people who do experience it, and depending on what circles you move in, a lot of people too believe that during dream time or whilst you're asleep and whilst your natural defences are down, that's a perfect time for ghosts to try and make contact because
just
they don't.
Time before you start to go off.
And I mean,
before you go into REM sleep and stuff like that.
Before you go to sleep and just after you've woken up, it's no different. It's all of those natural defences that we have during the day. Are at their lowest, and I tend to think for spirits it's a lot easier to break through at that time. And actually
because we're not sort of, our brains are sort of in that different mode, aren't we? Because we're in that sort of.
But is it the brain playing tricks and making them appear from a shadow that is just a shadow?
Not when you actually see the full friggin' outline. I mean, that's in. I'm a big believer in the gut feeling.
You could be dreaming that is there, or your brain makes you
think it's there.
I mean, so realistic.
But
it's the same as dreams. I mean, I've had dreams that are so realistic that you start questioning yourself. Well, hang on, did that actually happen? Especially when it's work related or family related.
Or you hear this chicka wow wow,
and the bed starts squeaking.
Oh, you go. This is an awesome dream. Then you wake up.
Yeah. Before, and then you think, I'll go back to sleep and finish that dream.
But then you go straight into a nightmare.
Yeah.
Doesn't that suck? Just quickly on that, you know how like you have those really, really awesome dreams and you wake, I can get back to it, and you're trying really hard.
Yep.
But you have a nightmare or something, and you think
Or you just can't get back to sleep.
And you wake up from it and you drift back off, and you start off exactly where you left off. What did happen with the cool dreams?
Yeah. The cool dreams never hang around.
No, they don't, do they?
But yeah, if you're just drifting off into that dream type period,
Yeah.
is your brain saying, hang on, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I can make pictures.
Well, they've taken pictures in the visual aspect, though. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Your eyes are seeing. Is your brain giving the information to your eyes saying you're going to see this now? Or is that actually a spirit there saying, well, this is the best time to come and pay you a visit?
Yeah, and I mean there are a lot of examples of that too, especially people who sort of the concept of being held down in bed. You know, people wake up and say, "Oh, I woke up and I was
felt pressure on
pinned to
the
the
chest,
bed and
yeah.
I couldn't move." And from a scientific point of view, that's been proven that that
Sleep
is
paralysis.
completely natural.
Yeah.
You know, your brain wakes up before your
Yeah.
body does. But further to Alice's question too, when she says that people will talk to the spirit or talk to the apparition that they're seeing at the end of their bed, there's been a number of cases too where people have actually had a two-way conversation with the spirit, and that apparition's actually given them information that during life they never could have. They never could have
told you
got
personally
themselves,
to do, yeah.
but they'll come out with information that a visiting ghost has actually given them that they could never have found out themselves. So
it's just a really weird concept. Like I said, we want to hear your stories. I'm all about your stories. You know, to the zombie listeners out there, masses. We just want to hear your stories, and we love getting this information. So, question is to people out there listening to the radio show now. Have you had an experience where you've had someone sit in the end of your bed and you've had a conversation with someone who's been long departed or recently departed? I know myself, there was this one time when my dad got speaking of dads, before my dad got really, really ill, and we almost lost him. You know, he had a massive heart thing happening. And I woke up, someone was yelling at me. It was really annoyed and pissed, won't you? It was like, and I was basically telling him to get the friggin' out of me. I actually woke up yelling. Not saying it was me dad, but it was around the same time. If you know what I mean, it was like, was that the old man saying, "Hey, listen, something's about to happen.
yeah,
I need you here to look after your mum or something," because you just get that feeling, you know what I mean? And it was only within a couple of days that dad. I got a phone call that dad was in intensive care. So, I mean, this is the thing. Are these like prerequisite to stuff that's about to happen as well? And are we not taking enough note?
Virtually the same as the predicting the phone call, or
Yeah, I reckon it could
sort
be.
of line that your brain does work outside your body.
It's like when, like, being a parent, like I said before, I mean, I was starting to worry about my son, because he was out with his mates, being typical hooligan. And then I better ring dad. Type thing, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't get hold of him. So these are different aspects of what we're probably our emotions and what we're portraying. So whether these emotions actually carry it on over, and once that someone has passed on and their guard is down in that sense, where they're free to tell you the information, or they're free to pass on a message, or they're free to. It's like getting the phone calls from the departed. You guys would have heard about this phenomenon as well, where a phone would ring and on the other end is someone who's departed. But usually 9 times 10 of the stories I've heard, someone else has picked up the phone and said, "Oh, such and such, yeah, I'll go and get them," and not realising then there's no one there, or there's that person has
passed on.
Passed on, yeah. So there's all these little weird things that happen to people in an instance where it can turn the whole perception of reality on its head. Yeah. I was speaking to a guy at work the other day, and nice young bloke, and we just started talking, and I was sort of one of the guys made a joke about the radio show. Not made a joke. He said, "Oh, yeah." He was just talking about. He said, "Yeah, I've actually experienced things like that." And we started talking, and it's amazing. This young bloke he was genuinely friggin' upset because of what he had experienced, and because he's got the Maori background as well. He's a New Zealander, but his cultural aspects of what he went through with experiencing loved ones passing and stuff, because they're very. Everyone's the same. You miss someone, they celebrate their life, and they do it slightly different to us.
Yep.
And they go through when they mourn. They seriously mourn, and this is that's how their coping mechanism is different from how we do things. Each culture has a different way it's gone through. So, and the experiences he had were really, really interesting. So, we're going to have a quick break right now. I'm going to throw some ads in there because I think I should.
Yeah.
Because
The bathroom break.
bathroom break. And what's he sitting there bouncing up and down on the seat going, get a pee-pee, get a pee-pee. Cut it. Anyway, so like I say, you are listening to the best in Australian paranormal pop culture radio show, The Naked Zombie. Joining me tonight in the Naked Debate is Peter Wadsworth, or the Wadster. Wadsy. And also Liam, the
Intelligent stuff.
the intelligence and the eye candy of the group. So we're going to have a quick break right now, and we'll be back for the next hour of The Naked Zombie in The Naked Debate.
I'll get it. Dude, dig the zombie motif. Dude, you're going to the 2012 Zombie Walk? We're here in Brisbane, and in aid of the Brain Foundation of Australia. Dude, I'm there. By the way, can you stop chewing on me now? Sorry.
That's right, Zombie and Zombettes, the 2012 Brisbane Zombie Walk in aid of the Brown Foundation of Australia. Come and join us on the 21st of October 2012 at Victoria Park for a fun-filled day of fun, excitement and scaring the locals. For more details, go to www.brisbanezombiewalk.com.
Are you looking for some really good equipment in your next ghost hunt? Then look no further than the Ghost Shack, based right here in Australia. The Ghost Shack can offer you everything from the millimeter, EMF detectors, cameras, illuminator, brackets, spirit box, and of course voice recorders. All you got to do is go to Facebook and type in Ghost Shack for all your paranormal needs. And we are back, and you're listening, of course, to The Naked Zombie with a Naked Debate, our Thursday night show for all things spooky and paranormal and discussion points, of course. Now, guys, one thing we have received a lot of is emails regarding children on paranormal investigations. I mean, and I'm not a big fan of it, to be totally frank and honest, blunt with you about it. I think leave the rugrats at home, and I've always said that. It's been bought, like, I know on some tours and that kids go along, which is fine, and because their mums and dads are there and stuff like that, and it's pretty well controlled, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's when the tour turns into investigations, if you know what I mean, and where kids have actually drawn into these environments at an early age to become what I call paranormal bait. Where kids, because they have that innocence about them and they don't have the cynicisms that we do as adults, they are probably more open and receptive to events. Like I was as a kid, and I'm sure we all were at times when we used to have imaginary friends, and I never had imaginary friends, but we all had that scenario. Having children on investigations under a certain age, to me, is just borderline criminal.
Yeah.
You're exposing your kid to an environment where they are open and perceptive to these things. I had this one people a while ago I was speaking to, and they literally took their young daughter out with them, and I was just disgusted. I'm sorry, I'll call it a spade, I'll call it bluntly, and they couldn't work out why there was all these problems happening and stuff like that. We know the scenario where previous and teenage girls can, with the energy, the emotion stuff has been known to cause poltergeist activity and stuff like that. It's the same, but it's not their fault, it's just what happens.
Yep.
Why bring children into an environment that could be deemed as a haunting, and why expose them to that at such an early age?
Can't find a babysitter.
Well, that could be a point too. No, that's not a stupid answer, mate. I'm serious. I mean, I've heard it as well. But bringing kids into those sort of environments. I mean, my boys, forget it. I won't take them
No.
No way, not till they're at least 18. And I know that they can emotionally handle it because it's not all big fun, fair and Yahoo and games. It's really not. You're exposing the children to a different side of things.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily just the physical side of it. It is the emotional
It's not,
side's far more dangerous than the physical side. But I can even vouch going out and doing investigations. From time to time you do get shoved and poked, and that's your choice as a consenting
As an
adult to do that.
yeah.
If you want to put yourself into that environment, but putting a young child into that environment, it's criminal.
Well, it is criminal in my eyes because it is, to me, it is a form of abuse. And I'm sure people will disagree with me on this. Well, that's fine. Then you'd let us know what you think.
It depends on the child, though, and what age you're talking about.
I'm talking about kids, man.
Well, under 14, under 15?
No, I wouldn't take a kid under the age of 18, to be honest with you. And even then, I would make sure that they're psychologically able to handle it. Look, don't get me wrong. I was out doing this stuff when I was a teenager, but I would go into places on hearsay and stuff, and I learnt the hard way, like most of us back in those days, where you did it because it was fun and exciting. You're not going to stop kids being kids, right? They're going to go and do it themselves, and they're going to get themselves into trouble, and they're going to do all that type of thing, like play with Ouija boards and all the rest. Kids are kids. You can't help that. Kids will find a way to do stuff no matter what. But it's when you encourage to take a child out to an investigation, like
Against their will.
Yeah.
not so against their will, but kids will generally follow their parents. They will.
Sometimes they have to.
They have
Yeah.
to. It's just the way it is. They have to go along because mum and dad are there and all the rest of it. But using a child as a trigger object to try and get a response from a so-called entity or something like that, to me, it's just a big bump on. But you shouldn't do that to children. I mean, I'm so friggin' dead against it. It's not funny. Or maybe I am being a fuddy-duddy in that way, but why would you put a child into that sort of environment? Because kids are going to be kids. Like I said, they'll do when they get older, they'll understand it. But taking a 10-year-old or 6-year-old, why
Especially
expose
if
them
it's
to
a
that?
bad entity, it can cause serious problems.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's the whole Look, I know I'm a person myself, and a lot of us as kids have experienced things in our own homes. We've done things that, we're probably not the most proud of, but we're in an environment where technically we were safe. It was our own home, it was our own circumstances, yada, yada, yada. To be taken out of that safe environment, thrown into a car, driven to another location which may be deemed as dangerous, and not in so much as a paranormal side of it, just in dangerous in general with trip objects and health and safety, forget about it. You got syringes laying around and all this other stuff you find in these old places. To take your child along there to use them as your sidekick or whatever you want to call it, I don't think it should happen. No. I think, seriously, a young child should not be exposed to that as thing. Look, they see enough of stuff on TV. They see enough of it.
Yeah, but then you take another step when you say syringes and things like that. That's another danger level that
even adults should.
Or anyone. I mean, is a child going to be experienced enough to not wear thongs?
Yeah, that's right. No, good point.
My feet are getting sore, so I'll take their shoes off.
Yeah, or they're going to sit there and the emotional side of them being put in a dark. Most kids don't like the dark in general when they're that age. All of us, I think, at one stage went through the stage where we're scared of the dark. Why force your kid to go on a location? You walk around the video camera and you leave them stand there. You're telling me a classic example where this bloke took his daughter out or something?
Yeah, it's a story that ran a couple of years ago in the local rag down the Gold Coast about a chap who took his daughter out on an investigation and left her in the car. While him and a couple of other friends went to investigate a place and came back to the daughter screaming because she'd seen a face appear in the windscreen. And that was at night time as well, which just begs the question: what were you doing, leaving your daughter in a car on the side of a road, unattended at night time, for an extended period of time. It's
I mean, that's
and I'm sure he rationalised it too and said, "Oh well, I don't want to take the daughter into the haunted
That's
house
it,
because she might be might be dangerous in the house, but I'll happily leave her unattended on the side of the road in a car."
Leaving a kid in a car on the side of the road. I mean, that's just asking for them to disappear, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the kids go missing all the time. I'm actually.
But that's another step that even if they're not going for an investigation, just to leave a kid in the car.
I mean,
Full stop on the side of the road at night time.
It's not
It's
good
just not good,
because
no.
I actually get because on Facebook they have this missing children and stuff like that, which I a lot of support. What mind you, my support is clicking the like button, but you get all that information through to you that this 14 kids missing, this kid's missing, that and I just cannot get over the amount of kids that are going missing in our country. Well, they do find a lot of them they've run away from home or something like that, but some kids they don't find.
No.
But that's another topic. We're getting into the other side of it now. But getting back on track to the paranormal side of it is children shouldn't, in my viewpoint, shouldn't be exposed. But if you beg to differ that taking a child on an investigation is okay, well, I'd like to hear your points.
I agree with you. I mean, I don't think a child should be there.
No.
No.
Well, this is just my viewpoint.
Yeah.
So, to me, and Liam, do you agree?
Yeah,
with
I totally agree. It's it's emotionally culpable to take a child because you do get exposed to a number of different emotional factors. As an adult that wear you down, but just from the physical environment as well. I know, back in the day, I went to some pretty stupid places.
As we all do.
Yeah, and walked on on upper levels of houses that. Your cat would probably have fallen through and did some pretty silly things. But I mean, to have a child in, even just from structural integrity of some of the places that you go and physical dangers that they'll be exposed to as well, it's just, it's just wrong.
So we've got the point being is, so what about tours? I mean, you hold the Moonlight tours, right?
Yeah.
Do you get many kids that go through on those?
We don't. We have a cut-off at 10 years old.
Yep.
But then keeping in mind that it's not but it's by no means is it an
It's
sort
not
of
an
a ghost hunter
investigation.
and
No, it's not.
investigation.
It's a history
It's
tour.
a history tour, and it's whilst it's set in a cemetery, we stay to the roadways.
Yeah.
It's sort of the gore value or the horror value of it's just not it's very low key.
I was 10 on that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think then 10, provided that you've got decent parental supervision, is fine. But you see a lot of other ghost tours that get around in various places in Australia and around the world that are saying, 8 years old or 10 years old is fine, but the content of the tours
graphic.
is very graphic, and it's you've got to look at what they're doing, and it's far above and beyond what a child of that age can actually comprehend in their mind. But then you've also got to sort of look at what what they're going to picture in their mind as well, because they've got very vivid imaginations.
Don't know what.
From a mental point of view, that can put a hell of a lot of strain on a young kid.
I mean, they've got enough problems as it is. I mean, as adults,
They put up with adults.
They got to put up with adults. I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of adults that can't handle it. You know what I mean? They get themselves into a situation where they want to investigate. And I'm all for more people getting in the field because that's what we want. But then you got to think about, probably just take a step back and think, okay, you may have seen it on TV, but is that something you really want to do?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being an armchair investigator, and that's what I think, because you enjoy watching the shows, and that's great. That's what they're there for. I love watching the shows myself because you do pick up bits and pieces and you find interesting facts. But the same token is, if you're an adult and you cannot, if some adults can't handle it, what do you think a kid's going to go through?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and at that age too, you've got to appreciate that what damage you do to a young mind at that age,
It's
can be very
irreversible.
long ranging. That could carry through for the rest of their lives as well. So,
Well, have a look at the topic we talked about before, Robert the Haunted Doll. Look what the guy did. He had this doll that he interacted with. I mean, that's a paranormal event, and right up to the day, it's sticking out its own bedroom. I mean, that's not right. Wasn't stuck in a cupboard anyway. Here's your room, Robert. You sit on your chair all day. Okay.
Just walk past the window.
Just scare the people. But, I mean, that's...
Enjoy the view.
Wave at the kids. Hello.
Come up here and play.
Zoom, they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and And it is a weird scenario to be put in that environment. Like I said, kids will be kids. My viewpoint is on that, and I love to hear people's viewpoint. I mean, they can go onto the website and leave comments. It is an open thing. So if you even if you disagree with me, disagree with us, because we don't always agree on everything as well. I mean, that's what is a panel discussion. That's why the times we disagree on stuff, but it's more to do with let's see what you guys think and your thoughts on it, and that's what bad. Be a part of it. Be socially active in this environment.
Yeah,
That system's gone all quiet now, hasn't it? It's like,
it has. We're waiting for the next question off the internet.
oh, what internet?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go phone. No, so that's a good point. The internet. No. And guess what, gentlemen?
We're back.
We have email.
We have the net.
Yes, the internet is back. Oh, thank Christ for that. Actually, just before
You feel lost without it.
we
It's
do, isn't it? Weird, eh? Like,
Yeah.
we're trying to run a show without the internet. It's
anything. I mean, I couldn't even read the newspaper.
It's like trying to grow a beard. You can't grow one, I can because I'm awesome.
Yeah, but I got hair.
Stop it. Leave my baldness alone. Hey, listen, we got an email.
Real hair.
Oh, okay. Can you stop now?
Okay, hairless.
You know why I had to shave my head. Anyway, we got a message from a gentleman named Glenn. Glenn wrote in today. He says, "Hi Brad, thanks so much for bringing the zombie back for season 2. We hope that you will be on air for many years to come." Isn't that nice? That's awesome. Firstly, your first panel discussion was an absolute ripper. Looking forward to more. Secondly, I just wanted to acknowledge how cool it was to hear your story about the yellow-eyed demon with the rectangle eyes, who once inhabited your former home in New Zealand. Great story, and I felt privileged to have heard it. This is awesome.
Well done.
During that story, you mentioned that there was a second scariest thing that you have ever seen had happened to you. We were wondering, would you consider sharing your number one scary moment with the zombie army? Also, your story reminded me of the things that I have seen on a dramatized enactment paranormal shows from the States, like A Haunting and Paranormal Witness. Both highly recommended if you haven't seen them before, as they are very different to Ghost Adventures, etc. All the best, Glenn. I know, yes, look, I have copies of The Hauntings. I mean, I love those series because they're based on real facts. And even though they have actors playing the people, they actually do get the people in to shout. Yeah, I have all the seasons. I mean, I love A Haunting. Great stuff, Glenn. Thank you for taking the time. Guys, I want to hear your scariest moments first, then I'll tell mine. I mean, but thank you again, Glenn. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for that great email.
A bit hard for me because I haven't been on any investigations.
No, don't. That doesn't mean you have to be on investigations. But
yeah, probably that one down at Port Arthur I kept mentioning freaked me out a little bit.
Well, you want to mention that again to the audience? Because it's been a while since we've actually heard that one.
I was doing the Ghost Night tour down at Port Arthur, and we were the last group going through because there's 5, 6, 7, 8 groups that go through, and as you go through, you lock the buildings up and set the alarms, and the model prison is the last one you go to, so we locked that up, set the alarms, and we're walking back down the hill. And about halfway down the hill, I heard a bell. Didn't think anything of it. I just heard a bell. I thought it was something else. Got down to the bottom, and one of the other people in the group asked the guide, what was that bell that rang out as we were walking down the hill? And he said, the only bell in this place is in the model prison, which we'd just locked up and set the alarms, and everyone left.
So this bell was ringing on its own.
Yeah, it was only one strike. It was just one strike.
We're talking about a bell, like the old ship's bell, like the ding bell, not a alarm or anything.
Yeah,
just
no, ship bell. Yeah.
Yeah, just so the audience can picture. Yeah.
Not everyone in the group heard it.
Yep.
About half the group did, and those that did hear it definitely heard it. But yeah, it was one of those things that sort of sends a creep up your back. Head in the back of your neck stands up. You're not expecting it, and there is some creepy stuff down there.
Oh, look, yeah, there would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty horrific place. So,
there's some tortured souls down there.
There are tortured souls.
Yeah.
And that's funny you just mentioned that because the other night's show, when I had Michael in from Parramatta Paranormal Society, he knows his history, and that was a phenomenal interview.
Fantastic interview.
He even said so knowledgeable, and especially the history side of Australia as well, which I just found absolutely fascinating. But like I was saying, that we do have a country of a lot of tortured souls. styles. You know, I mean, there's so, even for a young European country, there's still a lot out there we're yet to put our finger on, you know, and work out what's going on.
Well,
Anyway.
even European-wise.
That's what I mean, European.
I mean, we're very, very young, but you've got to appreciate from day dot. You know,
It was
Australia
brutal.
was never a nice place to be. It was, you know, it was supposed to be the faraway island where the worst of the worst was sent.
Yeah, we were a penal colony. I mean, that's it. We were one big prison
Yeah.
That's it.
at the end of the day.
A perfect prison because you couldn't get off.
No, and would you really want to go swimming around our waters? Seriously, it's not a good place to go swimming. I'm sorry, I'm not a swimmer, as you know. I hate the water and dolls and sharks.
Another thing, Bogger Road, when it first, well, not first closed, but they had an open day there, and just walking through there, that creeped me out. Going into the cells and through the corridors there, even though nothing was happening and it was perfectly daylight, and you know, I hadn't even thought about paranormal or ghosts or anything like that. It's just a presence that is there.
Ominous.
Yeah.
You know, to say
I don't know
at the
if it's
very
the
least,
place
it's just
or there is something there, or you're told that someone hung themselves there and you start feeling like that. But as soon as you walk in there, you get cold and a changed atmosphere.
It's the whole genre of the place as well. It's looking from the outside, these massive sandstone brick wall. You know, and you know that's a prison. Yeah, you know that's
there's no mistaking it for anything else. So.
It's not like a holiday camp, is it? I mean,
even when you're standing in the courtyard and all the buildings, the prisons are 3 stories high, so you've got these massive sandstone buildings surrounding you, and it's just all coming down on you. It's quite.
There's no way out.
No way out. Yeah.
Someone locks the key, you're loses the key, you're buggered, really.
Oh, not really. You can climb over the fence nowadays.
Oh, can you? Excellent. So, we did.
I know, I would.
You're like, straight over the top.
Throw the sun over and I'll be up after it.
How about yourself, Liam? Your experience, mate?
Probably the scariest or most hair-raising experience I had was at a hotel. I won't name which one it was.
That's right.
But the story went that
Because you might want to go back there again.
possibly or may not possibly. It was, at the time I went there a number of times over a number of years to have a bit of a scratch about, and it's every time was something different. And, it was always very, very active. But the story went that a chap who had been boarding there had fallen behind in his rent. And had been pestered by the publican and his wife a number of times to pay the rent, and decided that he still didn't have the money, and crept into their bedrooms during the night and killed both of them, stabbed them both to death in their beds.
Lovely. Yeah.
And then went back to his room and hanged himself in the cupboard of his room. And that was a story as it stood at the time. It's a number of years ago now. However, on the upper floor of this hotel, the number of things used to just be very strange. The light never seemed to work the way that light should, light and shadow. It would fluctuate. It'd be very hot one moment, very cold the next, and keeping in mind that all the windows up there were constantly kept locked, so it wasn't as if there was any drafts or anything coming in. And one night we'd been up there, and this chap who'd hanged himself in the cupboard was said to sort of skulk around on this top floor. And whilst we were there, again, there's sort of fluctuations in temperature and light and shadow not really working the way that they could, they should be. And there were 2 big toilet doors at the end, which is a public toilet, and both doors were really, really heavy, big, heavy wood doors, and they were on these big, heavy cast iron springs, and you really had to put your weight up against the door and give them a good shove to get them open. And while we were in there, one of the bouncers from the club came in just to check and see that everything was okay, and we asked him, had he ever experienced anything up on this floor of the hotel? And the bouncer said that he was only fairly new. He was a big islander boy, but said that a couple of the other guys that he was working with on security duty had sort of warned him about the spook that lived on this floor and to keep an eye out for it, but he hadn't paid it much attention. He considered that they were just sort of giving him a bit of a jibe, to sort of put the wind up the new guy. And he said, but I haven't seen anything. I'm not particularly worried about it. And no sooner had he said that than these 2 toilet doors at the end of the hall flicked themselves wide open against these big, heavy cast iron springs and started slamming themselves shut and did it probably about 10 or 15 times in a row in fairly quick succession. It was
Yeah.
bang, 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 no effort at all. And knowing the springs that these doors were on and having to give them a really good shove, it's probably the most hair-raising thing I've seen, and still to this day is the most unexplainable thing that I've ever seen. There's no way to try and rationalise it at all.
That's some serious wind passing.
Yeah, well, I'll get onto my most freaky ass experience in a minute, but I investigated in Napier, an old prison in Napier there. I got invited to go along. It's actually when I did the, I was on a comedy skit for Jono's new show, where they called me in to do this, because everyone knows what my sense of humour is like, so they got me to do it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun to be on this TV show doing the paranormal special and doing this comedy skit. And anyway, so we're going through this old prison in Napier there, and similar thing. I mean, I went into the suicide watch room, and I had a couple of experiences. That was pretty cool. But as I was stepping out, the friggin' doors come down, like literally big heavy old door, and I actually saw it coming, and I was halfway out, but before it happened I heard like a footstep like on the other side of the door, and like the door was being pushed. So I've got both my arms up, and me, how your normal reaction is to protect your face, you brace yourself. So I had my arms like this, and this door came down. I actually got pushed up against in between the two. I'm doing a visual again, pushed back like this, got my arms up, and I had my arms up like this, and literally you could feel, even though the door was heavy, it still felt like someone was
further weight behind it.
But lucky that my mate Dave was with me, and he was just behind me, and he was pretty quick as well, and he actually got his hands up there and actually took both of us literally to get this door open off me. So interesting scenario. So you get in these circumstances and situations when you're investigating the paranormal, if you haven't got your wits about you, someone like that could, that's a big heavy door, mate. If someone doesn't like you, they will make sure you get hurt. You're dealing with a prison. They don't, mate. Christian youth groups don't go to prison.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care if they take you out in the process. They don't give a rat's ass. And this is the thing you got to remember. Prisons are designed for one reason, to keep the bad people in. In that sense, and that's why they have prisons. You investigate an old prison, expect anything. You have to expect anything. You expect anything in the paranormal. You've got to expect any scenario that may come up. Anyway, so my personal, most all-time favourite, scariest experience. Well, apart from seeing the yellow dude with the square eyes, which just, like I said, nearly knocked my wife out of the bed that night. I guess there's two that come to mind that pretty rate there fairly high up. It was more to do with and I've actually got the photos on the website, Naked Zombie website. If you scroll past the past history in the older post, you'll see Scratched and Bashed. Now, I was doing an old pub, and I believe I've told the story a couple of times now. It's one of those stories, you guys obviously heard it, but people ask me what's my scary, and I'll tell them. I was doing this investigation at this old pub, and I wasn't provoking, I wasn't doing that, but I was starting to get a bit annoyed because I'd driven like 5 hours to get to this spot, and there's all this claims of this wonderful activity. I'm going, oh, okay, the history behind it was amazing. Nothing. Absolutely dead ads. And I'm going, oh, Christ, So I said, look, I've driven, let's do something. Come on, if you're here, I want to see some proof. And no joke with that. Now, it's not so much what happened next, but it's the feeling after that. I feel like I get punched in the guts. I go down. I literally am sitting, I'm holding my stomach, and next minute my back's on fire. Big scratch, and they pulled my shirt. You can see all these scratch marks all down my back, all down the side of my face. I got scratched up pretty good. And my mate just happened to take successive photos after another in pitch darkness as it's happening, but he didn't know what was, because he couldn't pick it. No one pick it up. Everyone's sort of looking around doing other things. But it's not so much that instant. Yeah, fine. That freaked me out. But it's within that moment it happened where you got that feeling of sheer anger and terror all at the same time. It literally took me out for about 20 minutes. And I've never been taken out on investigation.
No.
It was that whole feeling, you get that someone else's full energy targeted at you. And all I felt was sheer anger towards me. You know, I mean, like someone really want to do me
Yeah,
damage. Someone
copping both barrels.
copping both barrels, basically. Like, it felt like I'd done 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, even though it probably will last 10 seconds. But it's that the feeling that as I walked away from out of the room and went downstairs and I had a cigarette because I was just a bit of a mess, to be honest. I was like, you got imagery of flashes of imagery, the person, the sheer anger that I experienced from something that I couldn't physically deal with. I couldn't do anything. I was literally blown away by it. That, to me, it scared the crap out of me. I won't lie to you, because it was an event that really emotionally played havoc on me. I wasn't the same for the rest of the night, even though like I just shut myself off. I literally wouldn't talk to anybody. I just went downstairs and just leave me alone. I'm fine. Just give me 20 minutes and I'll be okay. But I wasn't okay. And this is the thing. It took me a while to get over that particular thing because it was so personal. There's usually someone.
It was an individual attack.
It was an attack to the stage where I was the target. I was the one they sought to hurt.
Well, you asked for it.
Literally, I did, and that's my own silly fault. And that's the thing. I didn't encourage it. I was expecting something to happen, but not that.
Yeah.
And it took me totally by surprise. Now, that emotionally really ripped me up at that particular stage in my career as an investigator, because I've heard about it. I've never really experienced something that hateful, if you know what I mean. And look, I've been, pushed and knocked and felt like tripped and my clothes are being tugged and all. That's fine. I can deal with that, but not to that aggression. That like, I'm going to hurt you and you're going to know I'm going to hurt you type thing. But you're not going to see where it's coming. Emotionally, that really put the wind up me. And I'll be quite honest with you, Ed, that really did affect me a lot. And it did for some time after that, because I was on edge for quite a while. It didn't just go, yeah, she'll be right, yeah. No, it put me on edge for quite a while, and it was a slow process of getting back into it. But you look over every corner you're on, you're sort of watching what you say, and these things happen to investigators, and you've got to be careful. I think my first real experience as a young bloke when I was getting myself in all sorts of trouble as a kid. I mean, I was an absolute rat bag. Seriously, I don't know how many times I would get picked up by the local authorities because I was in a place I shouldn't be with and taken home again. Never there to cause problems at all. But remember, this is going back in the 80s, where it was a different kettle of fish back then in the paranormal. You didn't make it wide known. You didn't tell people about what you're doing because it was odd. Especially in a small country town. There's the last thing you want to go, what are you doing tonight? I'm going out looking for ghosts. And just step behind this shed here while we beat you senseless. I mean, and that's what it was like. You just didn't talk about stuff like that. But I remember me and a mate were out checking out this old abandoned warehouse in Gladstone. I'm not going to get the name of the place because it's currently being occupied by somebody else. But all I can say, it's on the outer skirts of Gladstone a little bit. We got in there through means that we shouldn't have gone in there, where we scaled a few fences.
You broke in?
Yeah, kind of. But like I said, this is the 80s. Different kettle of fish. Wouldn't do it nowadays. Older, learnt my lesson. Anyway, there's a couple of old chairs sitting there, and we're just sitting on the thing and going. We had nothing. We didn't even have voice recorders back then. We're trying to see what if there's anything here. We're looking for shadows. We're looking for all sorts of things. And next minute, I'm sitting flat on this old chair, the old bloody wooden chairs, like the school chairs. They had a couple, slightly bigger, had a couple of those. We're just sitting there talking, and that's the last thing I remember. Because at that point, I found myself waking up, lying on the floor, and literally my mate grabbed me by the shirt to get me out. Because what he'd seen the whole thing, basically it looked like the legs of the chair were just ripped out from under me, and I fell backwards and knocked my head on the floor. That was my first real experience. Mind you, mate, being mad as a half-cut snake, I went back in there a week later to see if it happened again. But my mate didn't want to go back. But, right. I mean, that's the thing. These are little things that I've experienced in my time doing it. And that's what people don't realise. Back in, I guess, 20 years ago, it was a different kettle of fish. We didn't have we didn't. God, mate, we never even had the internet when I was in high school. It wasn't even. We had the old Commodore 64.
You're not that old.
No, but seriously,
I had the Tandy TR80.
Tandy, yeah, I had the Tandy TR80 too.
DOS.
My mum, DOS,
DOS,
yeah, DOS. But when we go geeky on everyone now.
Yeah.
But this is the thing: you learnt by experiencing it. You didn't learn off by watching a show or listen to something. I mean, the only thing I remember at that age was a few documentaries come out, and the old Leonard Nimoy did this.
Yeah, you had the old Ripley's Believe It
or Not. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff, and stay up late at 9:30 at night just to watch these sort of shows because that's all we basically got. So it was a lot of reading. It was a lot of finding out for myself. And yeah, and I reckon I did everything wrong you can possibly imagine as far as a paranormal investigation goes. Everything wrong. Totally got it ass about face. But I learnt from those experiences. I can't criticise anyone for doing something a certain way because, God, I made more mistakes than a lot of people have doing this. But I've learnt from that. And out of those mistakes, you tend to become
a better person.
Well, yeah. Well, you have a lot more respect for it, I guess, in a lot of aspects. And you're the same, mate. I mean,
and I think the more you do it, the more the better feel you get for different environments, different places, and I mean, one bag of tricks will not necessarily work at every place, or two, one place after another. So it's those experiences that you have that actually allow you to modify what you're doing to actually suit the place and suit what you're trying to achieve.
Oh, definitely. And we've lost the internet again. I was just going to put a post out there saying we're actually having a discussion tonight, but nothing's working again. So maybe I'll come back and I'll get it out and see if people write into us. But yeah, so that was basically my my stories. I mean, there were so many different stories. I guess another classic example was when I was in New Zealand. I was doing Macra Beach, which was a front where I think a lot of walls went on around there and that type of thing. Yeah, it was just one of those places that was very heavy. You walk into a place and it's just heavy. The air's heavy, the whole atmosphere. You had a beach on one side, and the water, and literally this little goat track, and there's cliff faces. New Zealand's full of hills, and there's literally cliff faces on the other side. So we had this little track, and it's me and a few mates, Ben and his brother Daniel, and we're walking through this way, and I guess it wasn't scary, but it was friggin' eerie. It was the sort that we'd be walking, and you heard 3 lots of footsteps. But you stop walking, next when you hear another lot of footsteps behind you making the same noise. But they're only a few feet behind you, but there was nothing there. You literally stop and go, you hear the crunchy noise, and then it's stopping, you're looking around, you've got torches, and there's nothing behind you. So these are where we're being followed by something that was checking us out. There's a lot of tunnels and that around that area as well that are quite interesting. You just don't know. It's the amount of times, and I guess until you live it yourself and experience things yourself, your attitude will change over time. Your whole perception of the paranormal as time progresses along in the field, and you do it for yourself, and you don't rely on other influences telling you how to do it. Work it out for yourself. That will fit you. And I guess that's why, yes, we are going to be out investigating again. We are the Naked Zombie team. We're going to go out and we're going to investigate. We're going to give you our point of view on how we do it. And we all got different ways of doing it. It'll be interesting to see the outcome of what we find as a team. We work well together as a radio show.
Especially if other people that do investigations all the time investigate the same place.
Well, a lot of groups do, which is great.
Compare the findings.
Yeah, I mean, what we find may be different to what they find. I'm not going to go in there bloody guns blazing. We're just going to go in there and just basically do what we do now, is talk and see if there's something that wants to talk back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coolies.
Sounds good.
I like your style, and Wadsy, I think you look rather cute in them there jeans. No, I don't mind.
Good.
And just quickly, before we go on to the next subject matter, this is most disturbing. The most disturbing bit of information that I can ever relay onto our audience, the Naked Zombie Army. We advertise. Yes, we do. We advertise on the Naked Zombie. I've got to put it out there
You
because...
don't think we did enough last show with your can of drink and wings and stuff?
No, not that. That's not paid advertising. That's just, look, I've got a second can here and I've still keep going.
It's still red and silver and blue.
I'm still sucking on it. But no, we actually do advertise on the show. We have a great audience base. It's really large, which is massive, which is great. And if you are a particular group or something like that, and you've got a special event coming up, look, anyone who's got an event, it's free as. We don't charge.
Yep.
You know, if you've got an event coming up with your local group, doesn't matter where in the world you are.
And what's that one that's happening in October?
Hey, in October,
Yeah.
Don't forget the Brisbane Zombie Walk.
Yeah.
I mean, we are the Naked Zombie is a big part of that. We love that sort of thing, and we're showing our support, and we will be there, meet and greeting the fans of the show and stuff like that. And because
hopefully the fans of the show.
well, I'm hopefully get some cool photos of them trying to eat my brains or something like that. I think that'd be so cool. Like me wearing the Naked Zombie shirt going, no. I'm doing that visual thing again. I've got my hands up there looking scared. But yeah, look, we do. So if you've got something out there that you have coming up, if you're a non-profit organisation, if you don't make coin out of this, please send it through and I will put it up on the events page. Big supporter of that. So I don't care where in the world you are because we have audience where? Liam?
Everywhere.
Whereabouts? Go name some countries.
China, Russia.
England,
New
US,
Zealand.
UK, Lithuania, believe it or not.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got
NZ.
NZ, of course. So we and of course Australia. So we do have a good audience base. So if you've got an event coming up, we'll get it out there for you for nothing. But if you wish to advertise on Naked Zombie, if you've got a product you want to plug or something like that, we can be bribed.
Alcohol usually works well.
No more alcohol.
Oh, okay.
I'm done with that.
You haven't had this weekend yet. You wake up this weekend, then you'll be
I
saying that.
like hats. No, I don't. But no, if you want to advertise on the show, we do run ads on Naked Zombie as well. Now, the choice is you might already have your own ad, but if you want us to do an ad up for you, we can do an ad up
We
for
can
you as
totally
well.
wreck it for you.
You can take no, we won't. No, I'm trying.
We'll try and do it professionally.
Well, I mean, try. You are Mr. Professional here in the voiceovers. But we can run an ad for you, stuff like that. And this is how we keeps us going. Like I said, we're not tied in with any sort of network at all. We also got a donation button on the website as well. Listen, we don't make anything, and we're proud of that. But if you'd like to, if you think we're doing a good job, you can either donate, or if you want an ad run or something like that, and get in contact with us, and we will put something together as a quote and send it through. I mean, we're cheap. We're really cheap.
Yep.
I mean, we're scary cheap. That's the
We'll do
thing.
anything,
Yeah,
basically, as long as we do it on radio.
yeah, that's right. But yeah, so
Behind
that
the
was just a quick plug on that because that's how we keep ourselves going. And the internet is back again.
It is. It is.
So we can actually put this up right now. Oh no, I've stuffed that already. Gee, why do I stuff things so easily for? Okay, so we've got about another half an hour of the zombie to go tonight, guys. I've done a little bit of a plug for what we do and stuff like that. And don't forget, please go and check out the Haunts of Brisbane website and the Haunts of Brisbane Facebook fan page. Hit that like button because Liam does an awesome job.
Yeah,
he
thank you.
does. And also check out his recent posts and stories and articles he has written up. That's why he's such a big part of the Naked Zombie family here.
Yeah.
Because he does an awesome job,
He does an
mate.
awesome story, yes.
Yeah, mate,
Yeah.
and they're factual and they're researched, and I'm very proud to call him my mate. So and that's what I'm stoked about. And Wadsy just looks at him longingly for
Yes.
most of the night.
I wish I could be that good.
Slightly scary.
Yeah, we're all scared of
You
you.
should sit from my side.
Anyway, so like I said, you're listening to the Best in Australian Paranormal. Where was the best Australian Paranormal? But you're listening to the Naked Debate tonight, our Thursday night show, which is on a Wednesday night for change because I'm going away. I am going to Rockhampton this weekend.
You are.
I will be out and about. I'm going to my mate's wedding, and I can't say anything yet, but it looks like I could be going south of the border in the future. I will be going elsewhere too, somewhere soon, which I'll once I get official notification.
I mean, you get a leave pass from the missus.
No, the missus. Hey, you stop that now. Yeah, no,
Yeah, I know
I've
it
already got
works.
my leave pass already put in the order.
okay.
But yes, there's something cool coming up for yours truly soon. So once I get the official notification, I'll put it out there, and that will be really, really awesome and good.
It will be.
Yep.
No, I'm not going on TV. Stuff that for a joke.
Not going on TV.
No, good. No.
Why not?
God, no.
Got the face for radio.
That's what I mean. That's I'm not even, I don't even have a face for that. Okay, hang on. We've got no. All right, Kel's. Okay, we have another question here. I should have picked this up. Okay, children of the paranormal. This is from Kel's. Okay, children of paranormal. When your kid see monsters or has an invisible friend, or is it really just their imagination? And are children more susceptible for the influence from the other side, or behaviour changes or the unexplained? Uncharacteristic behaviour, and as last point, behaviourally challenged kids, like ADHD, like an autistic Asperger's. That my 14-year-old son has Asperger's, so I fully understand that side of it. And, he's a great kid, but he has that. And more sensitive to things on the other side. So basically, in a nutshell, what she's asking is, we talked about children take them out of investigations just before. But
are they more receptive?
But we know kids in general are more perceptive anyway, because, like I think I've mentioned this before, you've ever seen a baby? You ever walk into a shop and you're thinking you've got babies over their father's shoulder and is going and going at absolutely nothing. But it's making...
They scare me. They watch you.
No, that's dolls.
Oh, sorry.
Not kids. But that's that whole perception of actually having that information where the kid has seen... I saw this wonderful photo the other day on Facebook, which was amazing. It had this... It was really well put together. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this little toddler sitting on the bed, big smile on his face, and had his hand out. And next to him was the ghost of his grandfather laying on the bed.
I did see that a couple of days ago.
Wasn't that wonderful? Because... child's innocence when it comes to this sort of thing is there is no badness to them in that sense. They if they see things, that they see them or not. Kids, sorry.
How many photos you see like that you think have been photoshopped?
No, it was photoshopped. It was someone done up this really nice photo.
Yeah, but that aside, there are photos out there people say are dead.
Of course.
True.
Oh, look, mate.
How do you tell which is the real and which is the fake?
Well, what's real and which is fake? If it's anything comes from an iPhone with ghost capture on it or something like that. I mean, what it is, a lot of it's matrixing, where your brain will find a certain image and it'll try to make sense of it. It'll work out, see a pattern in there. I think a lot of it's that. Pareidolia is called as well. You've also got a lot of it is... so
you're saying your brain will make you believe something you see?
Of course it will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though you know it's not plausible.
Yeah, your brain will take a picture or an image and turn it around. So faces, especially. The human, when you're a baby and an infant, right? What do you think that stops us from throwing rocks at kids? Because
they throw them back again.
No, because a baby's perception is the way they look. Their whole... Trust me, if this thing had horns on its head and a tail and it was red and it had slit eyes and that, you'd go, ooh, but they're so damn cute.
Yeah.
So you want to protect them. It's an instant reaction to be protective of children. It's that whole thing of that's our way of more... normal people's way is protect a child. Even if it's not your own child, if you see a kid in trouble or something like that, your instant reaction is to protect it, to jump in there. Normal people would do that. So the whole perception of children having that innocence about them is that you see pure innocence. You see that whole thing. Now, innocence can be corrupted, as we know. As we get older, we do become corrupted in a lot of senses because we become cynical and all the rest. But a child's behavioural thing, especially in the paranormal, is because they don't have that perception of everything as bad or wrong with the world. So if they're seeing their deceased grandfather or someone like that picture showed, it's because they're open to it. They haven't got that closed-off scenario about them. Their brains aren't developed enough to say, no, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's like with imaginary friends, is that you see a lot of kids with imaginary friends, and one of the question was, do you think that could be a spirit or could that just be a kid's imagination? I never had an imaginary friend as a kid, so I can't place comment on that, but it's very interesting in the same token that maybe there are kids out there who have imaginary friends because they're that reclusive or they're a little bit different from the other kids in their social peer group and all the rest of it, and whether they make someone up to have that communication like Robert the Haunted Doll. So, well, seriously, same scenario.
Yeah.
And having that that viewpoint where the kids are saying, going, well, you know, I don't have anybody, so they make someone up. Or unless that could be someone coming through saying, being protective. This kid needs someone for him, her, him. So that could be well and true. They're sending those signals out. I'm lonely, I have no friends, I need support. So that imaginary friend could very much be
a spirit.
Spirit. Yeah. And when that kid gets older, the spirit's basically done its job.
Yes.
And it moves on to something else. So that's what I'm trying to say is the human condition is for normal people, 99% of people out there is if a kid's in trouble, we try and protect it.
Yeah.
We try and look after it. We try and nurture it. Even if we're not their parents, we try and do the right thing. You see a kid in a shopping mall on its own and it's, look, what's the first thing you do? Are you okay? Do you need help?
Yeah.
You take them to the closest shop or something like that. I've done it before. You know, I've put kids saying, well, what do I do? Trouble is nowadays you've got to be careful how you do it too. So I get a security guard. Just stay there, kid. I'll get a security guard.
Yeah. And a policeman and a doctor and...
Yeah, but that's the thing. You know, I mean, we've become cynical that way now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a shame because of what society has done. But, yeah, that's my point. What do you think, Liam?
Yeah, I think exactly along those lines. And I think as children, because we don't have a very strict construct of the way that the world works or the way that the world's supposed to work and the supposed rules that govern everything, you know, every minute of every day, I think kids are far more, I wouldn't say so much susceptible, but far more open to viewing these kind of things and actually, you know, being able to experience things. Whereas the older you get, sort of through your teen years up into your adult life, I think as all of those constructs on how the world should work get drummed into you, I think it closes your mind a bit. And I always like to look at it sort of from the perspective of, remember the old Magic Eye, you know, puzzle books.
Look at it. So
you know, you could look at it, and to some people it's just a bundle of dots. But to other people who, you know, whose minds are more open and they're able to focus,
images.
they can see the sailboat or the dolphin or. You know, whereas there's a large group of other people who they can sit there for hours.
I've never seen anything of
I'm not that I'm closed-minded at all, but I have trouble.
Yeah.
I have...
Those ones that you say you go up close to it and walk back 10 paces. I walk at 100 paces and I still can't see anything.
Let me get a texture out of doing the dots.
You know, I think it's sort of along that, you know, that same concept that some people just can because they're, you know, their minds allow them to see it and they're open to it, and some people can't. And yeah, and I think children are far more open to that kind of thing because they don't have those set constructs in their mind of how the world works.
Well, that's the thing. And another point was that Kel's brought up with regards to with you know, kids that are behaviourally challenged. You know, because you know, my boy has Asperger's. I've never seen him show any signs of he's. I can only speak from my own experience on this because I don't know fully, to be honest with you. But when my son was growing up, he was in his own world. He does his own thing. At one stage, he was into bugs, and he was into this, and into that. He's a very perfectly normal, happy 14-year-old kid now. Yeah, and he's getting there. He really is doing good leaps and bounds. But he's on the lower end of the spectrum. He's not in the high end of the spectrum where you go into autism and stuff like that. I cannot give an answer on that because I really don't know. I couldn't answer that because I'd be lying if I was trying. But I can only, my viewpoint is what I've seen from my son. And no, he hasn't never shown anything or any signs. But if he'll get on a subject matter and he'll stick to it, and that's all he focuses on. I mean, and that's his thing. You know, the kid with the age of he would chase bees around. He'll get stung several times, but it wouldn't matter. He'd get stung and he'd go back again and do it again because that's his perception of it. He wanted to find the answers to that, you know, and so he could name bugs with their Latin names. Yep. I can't even spell Latin, but you know what I mean. And that's the Asperger's on the lower spectrum of it. But so I can't comment on that because I really don't know.
Yeah, and maybe that is a thing too. It's, you know, some children can't and some children can, but I mean, especially kids, not so much behavioural problems, but special kids, you know, who sort of do have, you know, a lot of these things like ADD and you know, behavioural issues. They do look at the world quite differently. I know when I was much younger, I didn't have grand mal epilepsy, which is the really bad, you know, bad side, sort of end of epilepsy, but I did have epilepsy and was diagnosed with ADD, and whilst I didn't experience anything that I thought was
paranormal,
more
yeah,
abnormal
yeah.
than anybody else. That's not to say that somebody else who was suffering, didn't see the world a different way and didn't experience a lot more than I did as a child. So,
well, how about when we come to the children? You've got the indigo kids as well, which are very perceptive to the paranormal, and like on that show that what's that show called? Chip Coffee and some other guy did it. I haven't seen it in Australia yet, but I'm sure it's probably on some network, like a paid TV, Psychic Kids or something like that, where they actually pick out certain kids who have these psychic abilities, and a lot of these are Indio kids as far as I'm aware. That show real promise in speaking to the other side and dealing with that. But from what I've gathered, because I haven't seen the show, but I do read a lot. And when I read this information, and a lot of the stories are coming back, again, these kids are very much closed off the rest of the world. They're not the social butterflies a normal kid would be. Yeah. They're very much withdrawn within themselves. They very much don't have an outgoing personality because of what they're going through, finding problems with the paranormal. And yeah, it's very interesting. So I'm sure there are parents out there listening to the show tonight. There's kids out there who listen to the show as well where, maybe they have got something going on. That's the thing, guys. We love to hear. We love your feedback. I mean, without the Naked Zombie Army out there listening to this and giving us it like Glenn did for us and give us some great feedback and questions and stuff, I mean, this is what we rely on. We rely on you guys to tell us because it's your stories. Especially doing the Naked Debate. This is what this is set up for you guys. I mean, fine. We do the interviews. We interview people.
Yep.
We do the Sunday night. God knows I don't even know what to call Sunday nights anymore. It's like a big sling fest. But people get to see the funny side of that because we just talk about the news and all the weird stuff that's happening in the world.
Yeah.
But we also have the serious side, which is the Naked Debate, which is solely about everyone out there to be a part of and get their viewpoints across and let us know what they think. And look, right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Give us some feedback. We're not going to judge it.
No.
We're just going to put it out there to the world. Well, we could be totally wrong. That's the thing. That's what we're talking.
Yeah, it's not just sending in topics or questions that you'd like to ask. It's also providing the feedback on your thoughts as well, and whether we've got it right or wrong. So
yeah,
that's right. And gentlemen, we've only got about 10 minutes left of the show tonight.
Have we? That's good. I'm just about dead.
Yeah, look at so look, great questions come through tonight on the zombie. Great feedback from the audience and stuff. And guys, thank you so much. And if you are listening to the show, please don't forget to hit that like button on the Naked Zombie Face site. Or it's on the website. Just hit that or take it across. Hit the like button. We'd love to hear your information and stories and all the rest of it. And we'd love you guys to be a part of it, very much a part of it.
Yep.
Except for, Wodsie's just got a massive head. It's just like really...
full of information that's totally useless.
You get that too, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to teach a young guy at work the other day about basic physics.
What, Newton's third law?
Hey, Newton's third law. I was just talking basic physics. Every action has opposite equal reaction, and all the rest of it. I'm trying to explain to him in layman's terms. And seriously, I don't know what's going on nowadays because it's like talking to an empty monitor. Just had this blank look at me face going, mate, you need to know this stuff. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just me. Anyway, that's all right. That's for another story. So, guys, I think we've done a good job tonight.
We have.
It's been excellent.
Kept me awake.
Oh, I always keep you awake, especially getting that spooning thing happening.
Yeah.
God, everyone thinks we're weird, eh?
I know. Because there's 3 people here, does that mean we're 3D? We're in the third dimension.
Don't forget, could you please also jump onto the Facebook site, jump onto the website.
We need better jokes.
We need better jokes. Jump onto the Horts of Brisbane, which we're very much to be a part of. Check out all the blogs. Go and hit the like button for that as well. You'll find it splattered all over the Naked Zombie Facebook fan site and also on the website. When's your next tour coming up, man?
Next tour is next Friday night. So for anyone who's interested...
This coming Friday night or following Friday night?
Following Friday, so 24th of August.
Actually, I might be there for that one.
You might be.
I might be there for that one.
I'd love to have you along, but
You
anybody
sobered up
else?
by then?
Hey?
You'll be sobered up by then?
I'm only going away this weekend, and then I'll be back. Yeah, no, I'm not going. Yeah, no, I'll be back by then.
Yeah, you'd have 5 or 6 days to sober up. So
Yeah, I'll be
hopefully.
fine. Oh, wait, no. So Friday night, come and join us. Okay, yeah, well, I'll come.
Yeah.
All right, me and Andrew and Wadsy, if you're up for it, we'll go and do a Friday
Should be
night
right
at
for that, yeah.
the Haunts of Brisbane tour. And while you're there,
At the cemetery?
At the cemetery, yep.
yeah,
So
well,
over
we'll,
at South
me and you,
Brisbane
we'll
Cemetery,
go
then
together.
Not Duntroon.
Yeah,
Dutton Park.
Dutton Park,
Dutton
you
Park.
knob. So, and if you want to come and meet us from the show, we'll be there next Friday night. We'll just confirm everything first. We'll put it on there.
Confirm we are as ugly in real life as we are on the
And that
photos.
we really have no personalities,
Yeah.
and this is all just a big recording of robots.
Recording.
Big recording. We are
Recording.
not real. But yeah, that's great, guys. Listen, thank you so much for everyone tuning in to the Naked Debate tonight on the Naked Zombie. And don't forget, please, if you're out investigating, look after each other, be kind to each other. And what's he got in closing statement?
If your net's working, it's on the net, it must be true.
And it's working. And Liam.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And yeah, drop by the Haunts of Brisbane and say hi and drop us a like.
Yes, and of course, if you want to advertise on the show, please get in contact with us. You know what to do. You know where to find me on the contacts page. And thank you, guys. Look after yourselves, and we'll speak to you next time on
The Naked Zombie.
Yeah. Later.
Later.